Space, the final frontier. Join us for a bold conversation. Our prime directive? To recap our favorite Star Trek shows, both new and old. To engage in debate about all things Trek. Prepare to energize with phasers set to stun.
Welcome back to an all-new episode of Phasers Set to Stun, where we continue to show our love for everything Star Trek in this ongoing series from a Film by Podcast, which focuses on every system of the expanding Star Trek universe by covering television, movies, animation, directors, merchandise, and much, much more. Plotting your course on this voyage is your core Trek crew. I'm Wayne Whited.
I'm David Burns.
And I'm Scott Hoffman.
And we're celebrating the upcoming 60th anniversary of our favorite series by continuing our trek into the 1960s with not one, but 3 episodes from the first season of Star Trek, the original series, as we return to take a closer look at each episode in their canonical order. In the last 2 episodes of Phasers, we explored and examined both the first and second pilots for the series, and now we're finally getting into the run of the series with the first 3 regular episodes. For you seasoned Trekkies out there, just sit back and relax and enjoy our banter as we look at which episodes stand the test of time and remain important. I would suggest you warp over to Paramount Plus first and take a look at the episodes, then come back here and join us for this discussion. Our first episode of the night is The Man Trap, which was written by George Clayton Johnson, directed by Mark Daniels, and originally aired on September 8th, 1966. David, why don't you give us the short summary of this episode?
The Enterprise arrives at planet M113 to conduct routine medical exams on archaeologist Dr. Crater and his wife Nancy, once the lost love of Dr. McCoy. But what begins as a simple visit quickly turns deadly as crew members start turning up mysteriously drained of life. With tensions rising and the body count growing, Kirk and his officers must unravel the truth behind the killings and confront the shape-shifting menace hiding in plain sight.
All right, so let's just get into it. What did we think about this episode? I mean, this is the first time we finally see our crew together. So, what do you think?
I mean, it's Star Trek already at its best, in my opinion. You know, I'm already getting pulled into it. I can see why they chose this to be the first episode over the pilot. You know, I definitely can see that. But it was nice to see Uhura McCoy on the screen and to hear McCoy finally say, "He's dead, Jim." That happens pretty quick in this series.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it felt like it was taking a step further from kind of Twilight Zone kind of format with is it the Salt Vampire?
Yeah.
A little bit more of like a sci-fi monster kind of motif. Still kind of a head trippy kind of mystery in this one. But yeah, it seems like people are gelling together pretty well. There was one aspect that kind of felt confusing to me. And I don't know if maybe so I'm the first timer in this crew. When they first meet her, it seems like so it's several guys standing around in the same room, and to one person she's Nancy, to somebody else she's somebody completely different. But are they all observing her at the same time?
Yeah, they're just seeing a different female. That's it.
Yeah, so she's getting into their mind.
Is it a perception thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's what was confusing me. I thought she was literally like shape-shifting into the person as kind of like a mirror to what the person was thinking, but it's more like she's doing like a perception filter kind of thing?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot more
I can
sense.
see your confusion, though, because it does come across. Yeah, it comes across on screen as a sort of a shape-shifting type of thing, but it's supposed to be that. It's supposed to be more of a mental perception thing.
Okay. Yeah, I know that they describe her at one point as a shapeshifter, and I was like, but wait a second, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. And how about Spock beating the crap out of Nancy as they come to Spock?
I mean, she's
like, whoa, man.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that we finally now got that familiar Star Trek feel that we all really know and love. I mean, this is a really, really good episode. It's probably one of my favorites of the first season. definitely probably in my top 20 of the entire series. But we have everybody here, but the most notable one is Dr. McCoy. I mean, this is a great character piece for him right off the start. I mean,
Oh yeah.
hey, we get a bit of backstory right off, and then it's very emotional because the creature takes the form of an old lover of his, and he has to struggle with his emotions as well as his duty to Kirk and the Enterprise. All the three leads are in character here. There's that familiar chemistry right off the start, which kind of surprised me because I haven't seen this episode in probably 2 decades maybe. So I had to refresh myself, and it's interesting how such early state that they really do feel like they're characters that we knew over the years.
Yeah, it's that comfortability, right? You feel you're at home with these characters, and not seeing this series in so long, like watching this already, I pick up on things really quick again. Oh, I remember this episode. There's still a few I know we're going to come up with that I don't remember too well, but these earlier episodes, I forgot that all of these were piled on top of one another in season 1. Like, I thought, like, when I remember these episodes, they were scattered throughout the 3 seasons, but like, oh man, these are on top of one another. Okay, I guess I remember season 1 a lot better than I thought I did.
Yeah. Well, it might be like me too. These earlier episodes, it seems like back in the 80s when we were watching it, they showed these more than they showed any of the other ones. It seems like they were playing these like once a month or so.
Maybe that's
I remember,
what it is.
Yeah, these 3 episodes that we're talking about, I think I remember these 3 episodes more than any of the other ones from the season because I've seen them so many times.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense, and that's probably the case. Kind of like, was it PBS playing the same Doctor Who episodes over and over and over and over, so you would get used to those same episodes? Yeah, I get it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably why I thought that when my brother was watching Doctor Who, like I would come into the room and it felt like the episodes were lasting forever. And I was like, you've been watching this episode for like weeks.
Our producer Jeff would agree with you on that, probably.
Some of them do.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, this is a really good episode. And like you said, David, I can understand why they chose this as the start of the series rather than a few other ones. And they had had good reasons. It was very simple.
Yep.
Good start. Good start. Good characters.
Yep, I agree.
All right, so let's take a short break here right now, and then we'll get back with you to our second episode. Our second episode for tonight is Charlie X, and this is written by Gene Roddenberry and DC Fontana, directed by Lawrence Dobkin, and originally aired on September 15th, 1966. Scott, you go ahead and give us your summary.
A teenager who barely understands how to live in his own world has reality-shaping abilities that threaten the Enterprise. Kirk and crew have to choose between helping him adapt and grow or saving themselves and others from the power of Charlie X. That's about as short as a synopsis as I've ever done.
That's the gist of it.
Yeah,
exactly. I thought it was a really interesting episode, but it seemed to have a lot of similarities to one of the previous episodes that we had talked about, right? With the reality shaping aspect.
Where No Man Has Gone Before. Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
right.
Yeah.
I was kind of waiting for the tinfoil contact lenses to come back. But as a first timer, I thought it was interesting to watch the main character. Very early in it, you get the sense that people are very uncomfortable around him, and how awkward he is. I don't know, it was just kind of interesting watching it today. Like in the past, it may have seemed like, oh, he's this super awkward kid, he's super weird, but now it kind of seems like he has I don't know, maybe there are some other kind of issues going on with him aside from the fact that I think they had said, or I got the impression that it was like he was kind of discovered and had taught himself how to speak and things like that. Is that right?
Yeah. So I think that's what they were trying to get at.
But kind of an awkward episode, honestly.
It is. I mean, it's still entertaining. I still liked it, but I never realized, and maybe I just wasn't paying too much attention, but I never realized how many times Kirk beat Spock at chess. Because I remember he won. Was it in the cage, or was it Where No Man Goes Before? I've got them mixed up.
No, Where No Man Has Gone Before.
Where No Man Goes Before, and then he wins here too. So I was like, wow, I guess Spock sucks at chess, and Kirk just keeps winning.
Although in this one, it seemed like Spock
Yeah.
was kind of underestimating him
He was.
and kind of giving him an open for it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe he
But-
lets him win.
Could be. I don't know.
That's why they play chess so much, because Spock just has a chip on his shoulder. He's like, I'm going to beat you this time. I know it.
I feel so sorry for Janice
Yeah,
in this
he-
episode.
Oh, I know.
Poor Janice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I always found this episode interesting. You know, I'm not going to say it's one of my favorites. This is that one episode that when it would air, when I turned the TV on, it'd be on. I'm like, oh, it's that episode. But
Oh, that one.
yeah. But now, you know, it's been years, and now that I've watched it again, you know, it really does have some interesting concepts. You know, it's there are some things in here that do stand out. It's not nearly as bad what I remembered. It's a very dark episode, to be honest. I mean, you know, it's got a villain that's not really as clear cut as most of the time. You know,
True.
You know, there's some pretty horrific things that happen in it. You know, when he makes the crewmen disappear. You know, like when he removes that woman's face, and then, you know,
that
just
was
the
creepy.
whole making other people obey him. It's kind of terrifying because, you know, Charlie's acting like an angry child, but with unlimited power, and that's rather frightening. We've seen that. You know, it always reminded me of that episode of The Twilight Zone with Billy Mooney, and it's where he's got all those powers and he's wishing them into the cornfield. Remember me a lot of that, and you know how everyone is frightened around him because he's very dangerous, a very dangerous character that can't control his powers very well. But then on the flip side, he's also a very tragic character too. So I have a new appreciation for this episode. It's not nearly as bad as what I remember as being. Oh, it's that episode again.
You know, this makes me realize, and I think we've discussed this before, maybe we did. Maybe we talked off mic about it when we talked about the difference between Picard and Kirk. You know, Kirk is the guy who'll go in and fight, and Picard's more of the diplomat, right?
Yeah.
In this situation at the end, you know, I like to think Picard would have probably fought for this kid at the end. Kirk is like, deuces, buddy, deuces.
You're
Good
right.
luck out there. Yeah.
You're
I mean,
right.
really-
Yeah. It does give a lot of Q vibes off here. Again, we mentioned that on with Gary Mitchell, and here once again we get the feeling of Q. So yeah, I could see Picard batting for him. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I side with Kirk on this one. Look what he did, and look what he's going to do. I mean, I don't care what he pleads or what he does, saying that he's you know won't do it again. Oh bull crap, you will too. You know, and Kirk saw that. Sorry, I'm not taking that chance with his crew. Or the ship, or who knows if he gets somewhere else. I mean, that's where he was going to. Was it a planet, space station, where a lot more people were at? I mean, it would be limitless for him at that point. So, you know, I'm with Kirk on this one.
Well, I mean, he destroyed that ship.
Yeah.
He destroyed that ship and
Like
killed
it was
everybody
nothing.
on there. I don't blame Kirk one bit about wanting to get rid of him. He's too dangerous.
Absolutely.
Well, there was a lot of like, you know, kind of passing the buck, right? Like the two that drop him off, they're like, good luck with this kid. Everything's fine. Just don't look him in the eye or make him mad. Okay, bye.
I see
And
it.
then they're gone. So they kept doing that. Like I don't think, not necessarily with any kind of malice, just with misunderstanding. He wouldn't have been able to know, you know, something inevitably would have made him very upset. And then what kind of, you know, damage would he do with those powers? If anything, I would think that the, you know, great wobbly green face would either have to strip him of his powers and allow him to kind of like mature and grow and get some emotional maturity before giving back his, you know, natural state, or take him back with them and let them help him mature in a safer space or less of a space that's kind of prone to destruction. But I did think it was nice the way that they ended that with that very kind of solemn pan out, to kind of let the weight of the decision kind of sit with the viewer, knowing that they wouldn't get into the rest of it. But, yeah, thought it was
I
good.
like that ending.
I did too.
That was a good ending for the episode.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, and our final episode for this evening is The Naked Time. And this was written by John D.F. Black, directed by Mark Daniels again, and originally aired on September 29th, 1966. And I will give you the summary on this one. The USS Enterprise arrives on a doomed planet Psi 2000 to rescue a research team. But a strange contaminant in the planet's water infects the crew, causing reckless and irrational behavior that spreads rapidly through touch. As chaos overtakes the ship and the Enterprise is pulled towards destruction in the planet's atmosphere, Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock, Dr. McCoy, and Chief Engineer Scott struggle to regain control while McCoy develops a cure for the infection. Now, this is probably the most memorable episode that, for me, that I remember the most, and that's really has stand the test of time. I know this is considered on a lot of people's lists as one of their top 10 episodes, including Gene Roddenberry himself. But this episode gives the chance for the cast to really shake it up, to be as outrageous as they can be. I love the fact that they're just playing drunk on a lot of it. It's a fun episode, but in my opinion, of all of it, I think Spock gets some of the best bits. Really,
agreed.
The way it weakens his emotional barrier, all those suppressed feelings come out, because his breakthrough in the briefing room, where he admits that he's lonely, it is always been one of my favorite moments in the first season. Definitely one of the most memorable Spock moments for me in the series.
Yeah, this is one of those classic episodes of Star Trek that anybody who has seen the original series will immediately recognize this. At least, Sulu coming out with the sword shirtless.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody knows
Definitely.
that scene and knows what episode that's from.
Richelieu.
So again, you're going back to that classic Trek already, and we're only 4 episodes into the season, for crying out loud. So it's like, man, they're already, setting that standard of Star Trek. I mean, back then you didn't realize it, but today you do. So you're already seeing a lot of that. And Scott, getting to see him, in his prime right here. You're already going to see him coming to the rescue of the ship and the crew, and having that pressure put on him, to get it fixed or get it done before it's too late. So we're already getting to see that here with him. So the crew is already starting to find their groove, find their spots that we all know today. So yeah, I really like this episode, and I know with the Next Generation, the Naked Now, which is kind of this episode basically, but seeing them as drunk is hysterical for one thing, because overacting at times, but hey, it's okay. It's the '60s. What do you expect?
Oh yeah.
But there are some things in this episode like, what? A bowling alley? What? So I had to turn my head on that one a little bit. But getting to see Nurse Chapel, Michelle Barrett finally joining the crew. Very excited about that because how much we loved her in the cage. Granted, she's playing a different character, obviously, Nurse Chapel, but getting to see that character, come to the show is very exciting. And already getting to see that spark between her and Spock. So, that was kind of interesting, So overall, I love this episode.
As the resident first timer who was seeing this after seeing Strange New Worlds, that Spock Nurse Chapel dynamic was particularly interesting to see, and you can see how that's kind of the DNA for what we would be seeing there. I thought she had a great performance in this one. I thought George Takei seemed like he was having the most fun on set. He's certainly the best in shape. Sorry,
Clearly.
William Shatner, but like when you compare the two, shirtless scenes, he's buff, man.
Yep.
Although apparently, as much as he's into fencing, he doesn't know how to handle one because he pricks himself on the pointy end. It was like, yeah, it's a foil. So apparently you use it all the time. You didn't know it was sharp. That's okay. But yeah, it was a lot of great dramatic range from Leonard Nimoy. I love the fact that it brings out his conflicted nature, and I think it's great that they're doing that early, because otherwise it would make him seem like he doesn't have emotion, that he's very robotic, that he's very closed off. But seeing the conflict really come out here, I think was a great choice.
Another thing I'd like to with the when it gets on your skin, how people are trying to wipe it off, and you get that, what is it, like a rattlesnake sound or whatever the hell that sound that they use.
Yeah, that weird sound.
Yeah, that really weird sound. But it was really unique. I like that. And getting to see Dr. McCoy come to the rescue too. And here's one point I want to make here. So when Dr. McCoy got recasted for the J.J. Abrams stuff, I don't know about you guys, but I was not very excited about seeing a new Dr. McCoy because I knew nobody could equal DeForest Kelly, no matter who it was. But I'm glad I was wrong, because Carl Urban was perfect as Dr. McCoy.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm bringing this up is because when you're watching this episode, I'm telling you what, you could put Carl Urban in that spot as Dr. McCoy, and you could not tell the difference. You could not.
Yeah.
Because he did such
You're
a
right.
good job.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. You know, it's funny that you also brought up, when you brought up the Abrams series, this is something I never realized in these early episodes. You notice how flirty Uhura was with Spock in a few of the scenes. You know, that was really taken off there in the Abrams films, but I never realized that had an origin right here in these early
Oh,
episodes.
that's a good point. I totally forgot about that in the Abrams stuff.
I didn't either. Yeah. Because you're right. Because watching the J. Abrams stuff, you're like, what's going on here? This isn't right. This is not Star Trek.
Yeah.
Then when you watch this, I was like, oh, wait a minute. I stand corrected.
Episode 4.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else to talk about about these 3 episodes before we move on?
I do just think it's interesting
well,
with when Dave, you brought up the Naked Now, the kind of the parallels to this. Like, we didn't even cover Naked Now when we went through the starter tracks because we were like, dude.
Well, there was a reason we didn't like that episode.
Yeah. But it's just kind of interesting. It almost makes me want to go watch that episode to see, like, well, what did they get wrong there? But then I remember. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Don't do it, Scott. Don't do it.
No, don't do it. Just remember, it's the Data Gets Laid episode. So.
Yep. Great. Now Jeff's going to go watch it.
Oh. He's like, wait a second.
What?
On that note, we're going to take another short break so you can marinate in those images, and we'll be back right after these messages. All right, we're back. And now that we've given our opinions on the 3, let's take a look at the characters themselves. Which characters do you think shine the most in these episodes? Scott, you start off.
I would say, going back to what I was just saying, Spock in the Naked Time, I think shine the most. Not only in his, the struggles that you see come out, but his, the fact that he's able to keep somewhat of a grip and try and kind of collect himself and get his composure to be able to help the ship. When he sees Kirk start to go out of control, it kind of doubles his resolve. So I think it's a lot of interesting aspects of his character. Dave, what about you?
No, I'm with you on this. I wasn't sure until I got to this episode of The Naked Time. I was like, I don't know who I'm going to pick. But then once I saw what Leonard Nimoy does, with the weeping and all that stuff, which apparently was him. He came up with that. That was not in the script. That made me have much more respect for not only Leonard Nimoy, but for the Spock character as well. And, getting to see him in the other episodes, just what a strong character he is, and the lack of emotions, as he should have. But how the friendship of him and Kirk are just continuing to develop throughout, so quickly in this series. But Spock really is the one that everybody leans on. He really is. And getting to see him in this episode be showing that emotional side of himself that you don't get to see yet. Granted, again, this is only the 4th episode of Star Trek, but, getting to see that side of Spock is just always amazes me. Even going back and rewatching again, knowing his character, having seen him in all 3 seasons and all the movies and all that stuff, getting to see that development of his character getting stronger and stronger. But Leonard Nimoy's performance in this was spectacular. What about you, Wayne?
Yeah, I mean, it was a toss-up between Spock and McCoy and Kirk, but I'm going to go with the new kid on the block, Dr. McCoy, because right from the start, he feels like a fully developed character, which really surprises me. Like, he's been there all the time, In the Man Trap, he has the weight of everyone's life on his hands, despite having that emotional connection he has with the Carters and all the danger that he's facing, but he's thinking of the safety of the crew and all the human lives involved. And then in Charlie X, all the other crews are frightened of Charlie, but he sees the boy in his fragile emotional state, and he really feels compassion for him and tries to understand him rather than just condemning him like the other members of the crew are. And then you got in the Naked Time, he's got another dangerous problem to deal with. This one's pretty straightforward, though, an infection. It tries him physically and emotionally, but he's the first one to realize that there is something obviously affecting the crew, and of course he works his magic to overcome it. 3 episodes, he's quickly become like the final piece of that triad, the Kirk, Spock, McCoy. I love him. I mean, we've loved him right from the beginning. Dr. McCoy for me.
Good choice.
All right. If you had any choice to be any of these characters that appeared in the 3 episodes, which one would it be and why? David?
I'm going to go with Scott on this because for one, he's never in harm's way. And as usual, comes to the rescue for the crew and the ship, which again, clearly shows how much they lean on him. I've always been a big fan of Mr. Scott, and getting to see him already in his prime excites me. James Doohan is just spectacular in that role.
He is.
And I just love seeing that dynamic of him. Kirk already going to him like, you got to get this now. We're gonna die like 2 minutes. Come on now, get on it.
Yeah.
And of course he pulls through. Of course he does, because that's who he is. It's Mr. Scott. Scott, what about you?
Yeah, I'll agree with you, Mr. Scott in Naked Time.
Yep.
There was a moment I was thinking of saying O'Reilly, just if I could, pick better songs, because he just seemed to have a wonderful time. But Mr. Scott, I love the fact that he's so aware of the fact that I could cut through this wall without thinking about the safety factors, but I could also find another way to blow up the ship first. Right? So it's part of his character where he's like, I'm working as fast as I can, trying to be the miracle worker and trying to pull it out. I just think he has a lot of composure in that one. Plus, he doesn't have his face blinked off, and he's not turned into an iguana. And he's not getting mashed up by Charlie X. So I'll go with Mr. Scott. Wayne, what about you?
Sorry. I'm going to choose Charlie X.
What?
Oh, boy.
Oh, man.
See, that I avoid Wayne mushing me like a chess
I mean,
piece.
first of all, it would be great to be young again, but then to also have those godlike powers. I'm not certain, but I think I would have a better chance to controlling them than Charlie did. Really. But the idea of having those powers is just mind blowing. I could have done so much more than Charlie did in this episode. Rather than his stupid little pranks. Heck, I could have just wished Captain Kirk away and become captain of the Enterprise. He wasted his chance, and if I was him, I would have got what I deserve with those powers, and that's why I want to be him.
I want to point out something. I want to point out something here. First off, Wayne made fun of me when I picked the villain a while back, and now here Wayne is picking a villain even worse, because this guy could do anything and kill anybody, just wish them away like they're nothing. Wow, Wayne. I don't know how I feel about you anymore.
Well,
just remember, don't cross me.
I don't know. Just in case, I'm going to say that Wayne has a great answer because. Okay, I'm back. You wish me back in reality. Thank God. Dave, just say yes. That's a great idea,
yes.
Wayne.
Great idea, Wayne. Great idea. Yeah, good choice. Good choice.
Keep your face.
All right, now we're going to go to my favorite parts when it comes to watching these episodes, where I dive deep into the episode and the production and enlighten you with some interesting facts. But first, David and Scott, did you happen to find any interesting facts that you spotted?
I know with for the man trap, Uhura's wearing the red uniform instead of that gold one for the first time, so that was exciting to see. I believe, if I'm correct, this is the USS Enterprise that is in the Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C. Is that correct?
Yeah, the larger model is,
Yeah, the larger model, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned this already. This is the first time he says he's dead, Jim, which becomes a famous line that McCoy uses. Wayne, please enlighten us, because we know how excited you are about this stuff. So
did you have any, Scott? Before I start?
No, go right into it. You got it.
Oh, it starts listening to
Well, we got 3 episodes to cover.
Whatever you say is very wise, Wayne. I don't want to be an iguana.
So there is something I want to bring up though, real quick,
Yeah.
before you go. I thought the Enterprise only had like 200 crew members, but Kirk says it has 428.
That was the 200 one was when Pike.
Okay, so that's what it was. The cage was 200, so they just changed
Yeah.
it. Okay,
Right.
all
Kirk has a lot more people on
Clearly,
his Enterprise for some
double the
reason.
crew.
I don't know
here.
why. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
All right, let's go. But let's start off by talking the directors. Mark Daniels was a very familiar name at Desilu. He directed the first season of I Love Lucy for them, and he's actually credited for suggesting Vivian Vance for the role of Ethel, as well as developing that 3-camera technique that was used in the series, which pretty much becomes standard for all future sitcoms. You'll hear his name pop up quite a few times in future episodes. Plus, he even wrote an episode of the animated series called One of Our Planets is Missing. The other director, Lawrence Dobkin, was an actor who appeared in many TV shows over the course of 4 decades. Charlie X was the only episode of Star Trek that he would direct, but he would return to the franchise in 1991 to play the Klingon ambassador Kel in the Star Trek The Next Generation episode The Mind's Eye. Now, switching to writers, George Clayton Johnson, who wrote The Man Trap, he had an incredible career, including episodes of The Twilight Zone, like Kick the Can and The Four of Us Are Dying, as well as the script for the original film Ocean's 11 and the novel Logan's Run, which the film was based on. DC Fontana, the writer of Charlie X, is another familiar name to Star Trek. She wrote 10 episodes of the original series, an episode of the animated series, 5 episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation, including the pilot Encounter at Farpoint, and even 1 episode of Deep Space Nine, as well as various Star Trek novels and comics. She even wrote 3 episodes of Babylon 5. The writer of The Naked Time, John D.F. Black, also wrote 2 episodes of The Next Generation during its first season. Now, as we said, The Man Trap was the very first episode of Star Trek to air, and it was chosen because it was just a straightforward story over anything else. Plus, it had a monster, which, they wanted a monster. Talking to The Man Trap, actor Alfred Ryder, who played Robert Carter, had suffered a severe injury to his right arm just prior to filming. But this pain he was having, he continued to perform his role without complaining at all. The Man Trap is the only episode of the original series where we see Dr. McCoy's quarters. And here, this I thought was a continuity error, but they actually fixed this. Because Spock mentions that Vulcan has no moon. He makes very point of over that. But in the animated series episode Yesteryear, there's clearly a moon in the sky. I thought he was wrong. This was wrong, but I guess there was an episode of Strange New Worlds, Charades, which we even went over. It cleared it up. Vulcan has a twin planet, therefore it is not a moon. Now, Charlie X was originally supposed to air later in the season, but since it had very little visual effects, it was completed ahead of time and moved up to second in the schedule. This is why Kirk mentions that it's Thanksgiving back on Earth, because the episode was supposed to air in late November.
Oops.
Now, this is the United Federation of Planets hasn't yet been established in Star Trek, and in most of these episodes it's called the United Earth Space Probe Agency. The series Star Trek Enterprise would retcon this as an earlier version of the Federation, and its logo was seen both in Star Trek Voyager and in Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
USPA.
This is interesting, though. The Naked Time is the only original series episode where the 3 primary female crew members, Uhura, Chapel, and Rand, are together. Though they didn't appear together again until Star Trek Motion Picture. Now, we mentioned before, and I'm going to bring this up again, The Naked Time is one of those rare original series episodes to get a direct sequel. The second episode of The Next Generation was entitled Naked Now. Sees Captain Picard and the crew of the Enterprise D get infected with the same infection and are forced to go into the ship's historical logs to retrieve the antidote. That's all you need to know. Don't go watch it. All right. But however, Star Trek Lower Decks also references The Naked Time in the episode I Excretus as one of the training simulations, but the computer interprets it quite literally, making all the crew very, very crazy and very, very naked. You can go watch that one. That was a good episode. All right. And then to end with a weird bit of trivia, in the film X-Men Days of Future Past, Hank McCoy, the X-Men known as the Beast, can be seen watching The Naked Time on his TV in his office.
Well, I'll be dang.
Oh, that's right.
All right. To finish off, anything else you'd like to say about these 3 episodes before we move on to conclude?
Nope.
I mean, what was your opinion? Do you think Star Trek is off to a good start?
Of course they do. I mean, clearly, this is why it took off so fast back then in the '60s. It was, fresh for television. Again, thanks to Lucille Ball for bringing that for us, because we wouldn't have this without her, which I know we've mentioned before. But yeah, I mean, you've already see that it's capturing the audiences. I mean, you got to think about this in the 66, right? You didn't really have these kind of things on TV except for like the Twilight Zone. So I mean, this is like new territory, and very exciting to get to know these characters. And we're only 4 episodes into the season, and we're already seeing so much going on, so many cool stories that, I mean, the audience had to be excited to find out more. So yeah, I think it's off to a great start.
Yeah, as a first timer, I'll say that I'm already invested. I mean, I obviously I am, because I do a podcast for this thing. I mean, Jeff pays me pretty well to do it.
What? He pays you?
What? Wait, everything's fine. Let's get to commercial. No, I mean, I think they're doing a great job. Like, you bring up Twilight Zone, and that comes to mind for me quite a bit. It's almost like the Twilight Zone with continuity and a storyline that builds around a core crew. So it's kind of like a starship that's flying through different kind of Twilight Zone based scenarios, and as they're doing so, they're kind of building on this crew that we're getting to know, and they're expanding this universe that we live within, all set within what's supposed to be our known galaxy. So it's kind of like our own future, getting to see it expand in so many different kind of ways. Hopefully ours doesn't involve space salt vampires, and Charlie X Wayne-like creatures that are going to turn us into faceless iguanas. But yeah, I think they're doing a good job of setting the right kind of rhythm and have the right kind of show that we want to see.
Yeah. I mean, it's trying to see it with the eyes of someone from the 1960s. There wasn't much on television. I think what was Lost in Space was starting its 2nd season when these episodes aired, and Twilight Zone had ended, but the Outer Limits was on. But that was pretty much it. And this had to be quite a surprise, a shock, because we'd never seen anything like this on television before. So it was a good start, good strong start for the series. You can see why it became very successful. And later on, All right, that's it for this week's episode of Phaser Set to Stun, and our look back at the continuing voyages of the original Starship Enterprise. Of course, you can email us at afilmbypodcast@gmail.com. Find us online at afilmbypodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and X. And if you're looking for some exclusive content or swag, you can join our Patreon and find out what gems are hidden within. And in case you didn't know, A Film By and Phaser Set to Stun are now on YouTube. You can find many of our episodes, both old and new, on our show. Go to our website at afilmbypodcast.com and click on the Articles tab at the top of the page to find our Phaser Set to Stun book reviews, where we go through each Star Trek novel, old and new, to tell you which ones to pick up and which ones should beam out into space. There should be a new one up on the website very soon, so please go and check that out and let me know what you think about the books that we review and which ones are your favorite. Thank you, David and Scott, for joining me and the listeners for another fascinating discussion.
Welcome.
Yep, thank you.
Next time, we'll be looking back at 3 more episodes from the very beginnings of the Star Trek universe: The Enemy Within, Mud's Woman, and What Our Little Girls Are Made Of. Until then, keep watching those original series episodes, and we hope to have you back here for Phaser Set to Stun.
Captain, I cannot change the laws of physics.